the balance of the Hurley, the run of the grain, the width of the boss, the grip. These are the characteristics that distinguishes my hurl from your hurl.
Some of the hurley makers say you give birth to a hurley, you don't actually make it, you give birth to it.
The old people said there was a life, there was a soul in ash, and I see myself as a hurley maker as merely a person who releases that soul and gives it in the hand of the man or woman that's going to be using this hurley. And this is very important because you know he's going to love it, and you know he's going to do beautiful things with it, and you know he's going to light up a Sunday in summer sometime with it.
The story of hurley making begins with the story of the ash tree. Selecting a good ash tree requires a keen eye to recognise the potential of the root system. The curve of the root buttress provides a natural curve for the base or boss of the hurley. This lower 1.3 metre section is the only part that is used in hurley making.
We're here today searching for ash trees to make hurley sticks. This is a fine specimen, slightly on the larger size, but it's a fine specimen, smooth barked, has a good straight length on it, possibly for commercial use when we cut the hurley sticks off. We're looking for this from the ground at 1.3. We're particularly looking for quality of buttress formation, and it's this particular root that we're looking for, and the turn of it, and possibly this one is a better example insofar as it's angled well and it's wide. It's this buttress that forms the grain of the hurley, and it is this that gives us our senior hurleys, and as a result gives us a good price for a hurl. It will also benefit the players because you're getting a much higher quality of hurley. You have the spring, it's a natural product, and this basically is our raw material, and without this raw material we cannot survive.
Clearing the base gives the forester a clear view of the root system, and care is taken to maximise the return of hurleys when the tree is being felled. These trees are usually felled between 20 to 40 years of age, depending on their growth rate and quality.
This is going to be segmented like an orange cut on the bandsaw, but it's mainly these four buttresses that we worked for in the beginning, that we spotted when we were choosing out the tree, that we're happy with. There'll be a nice return and a nice spread of planks in this one, and because of the smooth bark and because of the soil and the general woodland, this is a very high specimen of a tree. Right, the boss of the hurley is in here, and it's in here where the best part of the tree is, where the most nutrients and the toughest part of the boss, and the grain turning around is what gives durability to the hurley. This will be sawn down this way on the saw bench in inch boards, and it's nice to see a good buttress like this in a fine woodland that's been well maintained, being cut so expertly, and it will give the hurley maker the premium choice, and also the lad on the saw bench will absolutely enjoy sawing through this. It's a joy to trot through this because there'll be a high yield of senior hurleys. The woodland owner should be happy with the premium price. The hurley maker will make a profit, and the hurler that's using it, it should last them longer, and therefore it's a win-win situation.
It is of course a totally natural, renewable and sustainable material with multiple young ash trees planted for each one felled. The tree butt now makes his way on the first leg of an intricate journey to becoming a hurley. It's a journey that relies on years of skill and expertise, and very often generations of tradition and knowledge are handed down from fathers to sons.
How's it going, lads? How's the farm? Yeah, just finishing it off. Busy weekend. Looking for a couple of sticks.
We are training tonight, so our big match on the weekend, so we might as well get something used to it every week.
About a dozen and a half of them there, lads. Go through them yourself and cheers. Pick them out yourself.
Every hurley you craft is uniquely individual. That's what makes it interesting, and every player demands something different, let it be in shape or the size of the handle or the weight of the Hurley or the flexibility.
Yeah, that's perfect, John. I just might get a bit taken off the end of the bus, both sides.
Both sides?
Yeah.
Just for weight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very few of the top class players come into the workshop and pick up a Hurley. They'll pick up one and they say, yeah, I like the one, but can you lighten the handle or make it a fraction lighter for me, or maybe it's just down to putting a band on it. He will never perform to his best with a Hurley that's not exactly right for him. And as a Hurley maker, you try to do your best for him and get the exact Hurley that they require.
Thanks, John.
Thanks a lot. Best of luck the weekend.
Thanks,
Right, lads, take care. Safe journey.
When a man comes into my workshop for a Hurley, or a lady, you look at him and you get into the habit over the years, you almost size him up. You see the shape of the face, the shape of the body. You almost know exactly the type of Hurley they need. They sometimes say to you, what kind of Hurley, I say, what kind of Hurley do you want? And sometimes they don't even know. You would know better. And you know what? You nearly would after years.
The first port of call is the sawmill, where for the first time the outline of the Hurley will begin to emerge.
Go and hold right onto the bench now, lads.
The ash tree butt is carefully loaded onto a bench, and the root buttresses are examined by a keen eye to see where best to start segmenting.
I'm looking for a good Hurley with the toe properly on it. So what we'll do is we'll select the best toe. So we think this is the widest toe. So we'll try and cut through this toe first for safety so as we won't damage any of the butt. So we straighten it up then like that just to make sure that it's straight with the blade. And if we can, 9 times out of 10, we try go through the heart of the toe, because when we're quartering, we'll cut first through the heart, then we'll cut through the heart again. So we're very little heart in the plank, so the plank won't warp when it's drying. That's the idea of cutting through the heart if we can. The less heartwood we can have in our Hurleys, the better. This is very important when you're cutting your butts, to cut the butts right the first day, to cut through the good toes first, to make sure you have to get the quality Hurleys out of the butt, and to set up the Hurley butt right with the blade, that you will have the turns, the grains going up the handle the whole way, and that gives us a good quality Hurley. This is exactly what we need. There's all our grains now going way up the handle. Here's our centre down here now. We're not touching that centre at all. The next time now we'll cut that and we'll get a few Hurleys on this side. And there's our grains going down along here, right up the whole way up the handle. We don't want grains crossing. We need our grains coming from the bottom, right up the handle. A perfect Hurley.
The halves are now run through the saw again and cut into quarters. These quarters are then relayed onto a second bench saw, where they're carefully sliced into 1-inch thick planks. Now perhaps is the first time that the potential outline of the Hurley can be seen.
Yeah, we're cutting Hurleys now for the last 10 or 15 years, and every Hurley butt we open is different. You know, people say, how do you stay cutting Hurley butts all day? Every Hurley butt is different. Yes, we like cutting Hurleys, we like cutting butts in the woods, and it's grand work, like grand clean work. Right lads, it's tea time.
We cut it really well now.
No, we didn't do too bad now at all. If we could get them all like that now, we'll be flying.
The good hurl actually is a piece of timber that's selected. It's the type of ash, it's the part of the sawmill itself that they do their job, it's the season of the timber. You pick out different shapes. Some planks actually suit different styles of hurleys, and any hurl maker, if you ask them, no matter who it is, they love Irish ash.
The planks are then carefully stacked in such a way that their own weight will facilitate the timber to stay straight and not warp while it dries. Freshly cut ash planks will have a moisture content between 30 to 40%. The oldest and most traditional way of drying ash planks is by air drying. This requires the planks to be stacked in a sheltered environment for up to 1 year. The way the planks are stacked allows air to naturally circulate through the planks and bring about drying. After drying, the moisture content should be between 14 to 16%. A second way to dry ash planks is by kiln drying. It's a much speedier process, and the planks must first be stacked in layers with timber lats in between to help circulate the high temperature kiln air. This process only takes between 1 to 2 weeks and allows for a much quicker turnaround of product.
Good quality Hurleys will only come with age. And the one secret about making Hurleys is that we have to have timber seasoned, maybe 6 months, 12 months, because when you make the Hurley with very dry ash, the moisture goes back into it again with the humidity and with the sweat off of the hands. Then you're making good, that's what makes a really Hurley.
Lashing it away down the field towards Corcoran. Beautiful balance, what control. Free man outside, Niall McCarthy. That's a classic score.
Research and development carried out by Teagasc has helped improve the potential of ash forests. It's a process that begins with a seed.
So this is a really good quality tree that we've selected in this forest in Kilkenny as a potential mother tree for future generations of ash. Ideally what we would like to do is know the mother and know the fathers and cross-pollinate them so that the seed that we collect for the future forest will be of an improved quality. Of course we can't lift this tree up, we can't lift the father tree up that's up in Tipperary and bring them all together. We have to propagate them in such a way that they will flower together in the same field. And the way we do that is we have to climb up to the top of it, we have to collect shoots from it, and then we graft them. We make a V cut in this shoot and we make a V cut in the rootstock, and then it's pushed down like that in the month of January, February, and this one has grown this height in the current season. And now we have a copy, a grafted copy of this original. This one is from Kilkenny and this one here is from Tipperary. In fact, we have identified 95 what we call plus trees, and these trees will become the mothers and fathers of the next generation, and the seed that we get from them will be very much improved compared to seeds that are collected in the wild. And this means that instead of having a Hurley butt plus firewood, we'll have a Hurley butt plus 8 or 10 metres of quality wood, and the difference in price can be 20-fold for an individual tree.
Declan Rook pulling on it here. Oh, magnificent by Quigley. And that is the most fantastic score.
There is another way. If we vegetatively propagate this tree, we make an exact copy of it. And every tree that we propagate from this will be an exact copy of this individual tree. Now we can do this by climbing the tree, collecting buds from it and micro-propagating them in a special gel, such as we have here, and get 3 or 4 plants every month. So this has the potential for producing large numbers of this individual tree, which will have much higher quality than ones which have a lot of branches and are not straight. And we're developing a system in Teagasc to propagate trees like this on a very large scale.
You get used to looking at the planks after a while and you pick out the best grain. Basically you mark them out by putting a template down on top of them and getting the best pattern that we can get. And then we mark it out. Most important thing is that the grain runs through out to the boss and that it's straight down the handle with no blemishes. And that's the way you'll get the best Hurley out of the plank of timber.
The natural grain that runs through and follows the shape and design of the Hurley is the secret that gives each Hurley its unique qualities: strength, spring and subtlety. These qualities are ideally matched by the ash tree's characteristics that give the finished product perfect weight and balance. By following the Hurley outline that has been marked on the plank, a steady hand now guides the plank through a series of intricate cuts. Skill and expertise are central to the Hurley maker's craft. each with his own preferred shape and design. Slowly but surely, the first outline of a natural ash Hurley begins to emerge. A quick run on the sanding belt finishes the job. Research into the management of broadleaves, carried out by Dr. Ian Short of Teagasc, clearly demonstrates that following best practice guidelines is essential to realise the commercial potential for the forest owner. And this care and maintenance starts at an early stage.
The site here specifically for ash itself is a very good site. The pH is between 6.5 to 7, which is ideal for ash. The soil in terms of the drainage itself should be free draining soil. Ground that has flooding or standing water won't be very suitable for root development in a tree establishment. Where you're actually getting the hurls will be at the base of the tree. So you want a nice spread of the root system. What you want is good level ground, particularly for hurley buds. Ash itself is particularly sensitive to competition from surrounding vegetation in the first 3 or 4 years. So you want the best start possible. In this site here, what they've done is they've mounded, which then the mound spreads out, keeps the grass suppressed underneath it, gives it a good start for the first year. But then you'll see that the grass starts growing back in.
Bit windy today, isn't it?
It's too windy. We won't do any spraying today.
The easiest route is to spray, but it would be essential that you use a cowl. The trees themselves are like big sponges when they're growing, so that it will soak up any drift or anything like that, and that you could quite possibly kill the tree. Otherwise, you could do vegetation control using a slash hook, standing down around the trees themselves. The better you keep the vegetation control in the first couple of years, the more successfully established the site will be.
The difference between a site that has been grass cleared and not can be between 1 to 1.2 metres by year 4. Other factors, such as rabbit-proof fencing, will help maintain a healthy plantation. By year 4, the first formative shaping takes place.
Okay, so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to remove the side branches in order for a nice straight stem, no side branching, no knots in the timber. In order to do that, you need to prune it. So you come along here, it's also called shaping, and you remove the branch. What we're going to do here is we're going to remove the competing leaders and allow one straight stem to be the final stem, okay? What you want is a straight stem, no or little side branching, one main leader, no forking.
Traditional Hurley making techniques of yesteryear are not so commonplace nowadays.
Yeah, well, it's true to say that this is not the way we make them anymore, but the actual feeling that you have for the timber and the knowledge required to make hurls, whether it's by hand or by machine, it remains the same.
In bygone days, each parish could have up to 1 or 2 Hurley makers with their own individual styles and secrets. These secrets and skills were very often passed down from generation to generation, an apprenticeship that still continues right up to the present day. More recent techniques have seen the introduction of a lathe to produce Hurleys based on a moulded outline. This process, though faster, still requires the final individual touches from the master Hurley maker to complete the process. Broadleaf silvicultural research carried out by Teagasc clearly shows that further management is critical to realise commercial potential. For instance, the young forest will have to be thinned, maximising quality, growth and potential. Between 40 to 50% of young trees are removed.
We're standing in a 12-year-old crop of ash, and this crop of ash is at the stage for first thinning. Now if you look through the site, you'll see there's a lot of good stems and a lot of bad stems. So the objective of the exercise with thinning is to remove most of the bad stems or the poor form stems. This will allow the canopy to develop. Ash needs room in its canopy. If it doesn't have that room, what will happen is that the stems stagnate and become whips. So the stem needs to fill out. And once the stem fills out, these annual rings start to come into play, and these famous grain that we all hear the Hurley makers talking about starts to form. So that is why formative shaping and high pruning must be continued into the future to allow the landowner to get the best return they possibly can from their crop.
Trees with the best potential are marked blue, while other trees that are deemed unsuitable, poorly formed or perhaps obstructive are marked accordingly.
This is a 12-year-old stem which has been marked as a potential crop tree. It has also been marked for Hurley butt, and we can see down here that the roots are starting to form down here, even at 12 years of age. Now the particular site here is agricultural ploughed, so this should allow for the formation of tree toes, which is what the Hurley manufacturers really need to get the optimum amount of planks out. So as we have it thin now, the woods should start forming here. And once it hits 22, 24 centimetres in diameter, it's at that stage that Hurley butts will start forming and will be going into industry. But this stem here will probably grow on to be 40 years of age, and it will be both used for Hurley butt, which is the bottom 1.3 metres, and also for saw log, which is the rest of the stem. It's all about optimising the amount of product for the farmer. If they can optimise the Hurley butt and the saw log, this is what the market dictates, and this will yield them the highest return.
The Irish Guild of Ash Hurley Makers comprises members from all over the country who are committed to preserving this traditional and ancient craft, while at the same time recognising its potential and planning for the future.
Hurley making, you're in touch with thousands of years of tradition. You're going back to the soul of the Druids, which is actually the very symbol we have on our Hurleys, right back to Celtic mists, and we're merely custodians of this tradition. And through our involvement with Taoiseach, we're actually using science, modern cutting-edge science, to advance our knowledge on ash, to bring Hurley making onto a whole new level.
Basically, you learn the knowledge and you grow into the Hurley making tradition. It's something you can't learn overnight. You can't just pick up something and go and start making Hurleys and call yourself a Hurley maker. It's something you have to grow up with and get into it. It's an art.
Very proud of what we do. It's great to be involved and to look at a match and see a guy performing to his best, and you know you've made that Hurley, or some of your friends that's in the business have made the Hurley, and it's great to be part of that.
Well, it's been presented to the President of America, it's been presented to the Queen. Basically, it's our heritage, and at the moment I would consider it our national emblem.
You see little small children playing with little 18 and 20-inch Hurleys, like, it's very good, like, it's great, like, all kids will play with a stick, like, so it's going to hand them a little Hurley and they'll hurl away, like.
It's just uniquely Irish, it's part of our culture, our heritage. You know, it's something that we have that no other country in the world has.
Hurling is unique. It's just us. It's Irish.
Going forward, looking for the opening score.
Record numbers of people play hurling today. The popularity of the GAA, both at home and abroad, has seen the games attract more and more people to become involved at various levels: social, sporting, promoting cultural awareness and encouraging community involvement, ensuring that this unique national game goes from strength to strength through the provision of quality ash hurleys. The GAA, Teagasc, and the Irish Guild of Ash Hurley Makers together have a bright and prosperous future ahead.